This is all right.
Get back, 100 feet back. And now, you get back. Gunfire! Officer down! Officer needs help! He's dead! Get this shot! Use your zoom!
So obviously we're going to be talking about the movie and the scenes that we showed you, and mainly your reactions on it. So what do you think about the scenes that we showed you? Did it impact you in any way?
It was very, I suppose, real, as opposed to what most movies portray about what really goes on. I guess the gritty stuff, the bad, so to speak. I mean, there's good people and bad people in many different situations, and I suppose like that's just showing. Well, it seemed to me that the cops were kind of bad, and so it was showing that side a bit, and also I guess journalism as well. You know, it's not all good.
They just pick what's nice. They pick whatever they think is gonna give a better story.
I think they'll do whatever it takes to get that information from like a certain source. Capture that moment where like I guess the cops, they were entering the store, and then that man just pulls out a gun and starts shooting the cops, and then he went like as far as to like follow the man that killed the cop, and just get that moment, and then he took the camera, and then had that other man come in, and just it all went into like to get that information.
To get the information. No, he had what he had to do to get the information. What is your favorite movie genre? Action? Romantic.
Or like scary.
Scary?
Yeah.
Drama?
Like action.
Action? Okay. Do you think these scenes portray media practices in reality?
I think real life is like they exaggerate too much. Like recently, that news anchor that was lying about being, I don't know.
Brian Williams?
Yeah, that guy.
From NBC?
I think they just add more to it to make it seem interesting to the general population.
So you mean to say that the media tries to manipulate us?
It's not like you go across the border and they try and take pictures of bodies on the street or whatever. From what I've heard, they threaten those reporters and stuff, the cartels and stuff. So over there, it's a little more hush hush in the sense that their lives are in danger, and over here they're just trying to it's like a movie. They're trying to make it seem interesting.
Do you trust the media more or less after watching scenes like this in the movie?
I don't trust the media at all.
Yeah, even before that.
Do you think reporters are obsessed with crime stories?
They're obsessed with anything they can get their hands on.
Anybody else?
I'd say that they go above and beyond than what they're supposed to do, and maybe the companies might not. They'll turn a blind eye to it, depending, because it's all. There's no such thing as bad publicity.
Right.
So, they don't really acknowledge what they do so long as they get it.
As long as they get the piece.
I think it's like a sidebar. I don't necessarily think it's their fault. I think it's like in part our fault too. Like we're the ones who's demanding it. Like the ones we always buy magazines with more drama or like have kind of those big headlines, which causes them to be more like that.
When you start off in the field, of being a reporter and stuff, you're so new to everything, and I guess the way you think changed, and then you start to develop, they all said, like the media will pressure the reporters to do so much to get that information. So I mean, I guess the pressure and they feel obligated. So like in that one scene in the movie where the man was there, like there was a guy from an actual company, taking the shot, and then he went in further, got closer, and then went up to his face, did everything, checking it out, and then the cop just told him to move. But I mean, he just, he decided to go all the way just to get that extra.
To get the information. Do you think reporters are unethical, personally or professionally?
I think they're unethical. I mean, when people die, like, I guess just thinking off the top of my head, when like a family loses a child and it's on the news, they ask for their own, I guess, space. They don't want to talk to anybody. They want to grieve or mourn. And then you got people showing up at their doors, knocking on their doors, asking to see how they feel. So I think that's pretty stupid.
Not respecting the
Yeah, they're
privacy.
very unethical. In my mind.
Yeah, pretty much.
I believe what he said.
You agree with that? Does anybody else agree with that or want to add?
Unethical, like professionally, and I'd say also like out of the workspace too, because I guess personality reflects how you work and vice versa. So I'd say that they're both, unethical.
If you're unethical on one side, they're unethical on the other side. Did the movie impact you when watching violent scenes in any way?
I think I got used to it after a friend showed me a decapitation of a cartel. It was a chainsaw that cut a guy's head off. And I was like,
Was it out on the media? Was that video
It
out
was
on the
online.
media? It was
it
online?
was online, but I mean, after you see something like that, the guy got shot. You don't see anything else.
Yeah, it
so
doesn't
it's not
impact
that
you.
bad.
Mhm.
Yeah, just like in Mexico, most people are used to seeing people die. And I know it's not a good thing, but it's just the fact that you see that every day, it's just, just
Going
kind
down
of.
to it.
Yeah. Anybody else wants to add to that? No? So you're just used to seeing violent scenes. I mean, it doesn't impact you in any way. I mean, to you, seeing a decapitated, the way they decapitate somebody,
I mean,
it's
apart
pretty
from
much.
that, it's just our generation in general. That I mean, everything you see on TV, movies, videos, music videos, all that is there's nothing to hide. So you grow used to it.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's no privacy.
I'm sorry?
You can see anything on the internet.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay. Do you think this type of violence is necessary to make a point in films or in this specific film?
People are going to watch it more. They're going to be more interested in it if it has violence.
Yeah, because then people wouldn't listen. If you don't show them this, they're not gonna listen. Like, oh, whatever. Even showing them this, just like for a moment, they're like, "Oh, look what they do," and then they forget about it. And that's it.
Yeah.
The shock value isn't as big as it used to be. So I feel like that's pretty not restrained, but it's still under the shock value line, if there is such a thing. For now, at least. Who knows? Later, maybe they'll make a film where it somehow manages to pass that rating system, or even gets famous because it wasn't rated. Like there's a lot of movies that are not rated because they're so violent. Maybe like they have so much bad stuff, and that's what they're not showing the public. So maybe later on, somehow one movie will slip through where it'll surpass what everything else shows right now and surpass the shock value.
Do you think this movie would have still been as successful without a couple of violent scenes in them?
I think it can. Different situations like the Bernie Madoff scandal, where the guy like stole from all these people. I mean, that's something that's not as violent, but you can still get a good story out of it. So I think the violence isn't necessary to show the bad.
You think it is necessary or it
No,
isn't?
you don't need to show all that. I mean, it didn't really seem like much, but like you're asking, is the violence necessary? It's not. You can get a good story out of something else.
Said, people are getting numb. So you said it yourself, people are getting numb. So if they're already numb, that violence is getting numb.
Yeah, I guess it just kind of like makes us think about it a little bit more. I mean,
It's
it's still
not. There's nothing to it. It's like, oh, another guy died. There's no
Oh, okay.
connection
Yeah.
to that
I guess
person.
what the thing is that people don't see it that often, right? Like not many people actually see it in real life, and people don't want it or wish for it to happen. But when they see it, it's like, oh, that's bad, that's horrible that it happened.
when
But-
9/11 happened, that devastated the entire country, right? So I mean, that was a pretty significant event.
Do you think things have gotten worse in regards to media after 9/11? Do you think it has become more violent and we
I
have been
think
accustomed to
that's
it?
kind of like when you get your initial thrill or like a rush. That's like, oh wow, this is really it like really tugs at your emotions. So after that, there's really nothing that can bring you up to that level of emotional, your stress or whatever. So I think that does have a big role in like media today.
Do you all remember 9/11?
Yeah.
Yes. I know you're in your 20s. I'm in my 40s. But I remember clearly, when it happened where I was. Do you all remember the same thing when you find out about it? Yeah. Did it impact you? Do you remember seeing all those scenes where people were jumping off the buildings? And do you remember feeling anything at all?
I was in elementary,
Yeah, me too. I was in school.
and they brought us into a room to watch the news. And at the time, like I didn't, like I knew that somewhere this is happening,
That's
but
not
at first it didn't really impact me because it was just like,
I think we're too young to
Yeah,
understand
too far
the
away.
significance.
Yeah.
too
And
young.
then, like,
as well.
I mean, if you look at it now and you see the videos of people like holding hands and jumping off, I mean, that's a tearjerker. I mean,
So thank you so much for your time. I hope it was fun. I hope you learned something.